After a year that brought panic over spy balloons, a fight over semiconductors, and an intensifying military rivalry, China and the United States are ending the year with an uneasy détente, with both Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping looking to stop a freefall in their countries' relations. But 2024 could bring new turbulence. Here are 3 problems that could cause a stumble in US-China ties. Taiwan votes in mid-January for its new president and legislature. China considers Taiwan its own territory. Taiwan officials say Beijing has been escalating military maneuvers near the island and pushing a prickly narrative.
There have been very stern warnings from China that this is a war and peace election and that independence for Taiwan would mean war.
Reuters correspondent Anthony Slokowski has been following these events from Beijing. Though increased warnings and military pressure during elections isn't new at all for Taiwan, this time Beijing really dislikes the frontrunner, Democratic Progressive Party Vice President Lai Ching-te and his running mate Xiaobi Kim.
The commentary in China has been pretty negative about the DPP candidature. They have been called colluding villains, I think, the sort of the ruling party ticket and the Independence Double Act.
The US could be drawn in if military tensions escalate in the Taiwan Strait, and there's a precedent for that. In 1996, the US sent an aircraft carrier group to the area in response to China's military exercises and missile tests ahead of voting. The 2024 US presidential election could be even more consequential. Barring last-minute surprises, it will likely be a rematch between Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Reuters US foreign policy editor Don Durfee explains its implications for the US-China relationship.
Trump is less of a fan of traditional American alliances, including NATO and some of the alliances in Asia. If a Trump administration were to mean a pullback from Asia, China would see that in its benefit. On the other hand, Trump was very tough on China during his time, right? He imposed new tariffs, there were arguments about COVID, and the Chinese leadership found it to be a very difficult administration to work with. So there's an argument from analysts that the Chinese might actually prefer Biden because he's more predictable. They feel like they have a partner they can negotiate with.
Semiconductors remain a key issue in the US-China tech rivalry, and the US is expected to beef up export controls designed to prevent China's military from getting its hands on the most advanced semiconductors.
We're going to see another tightening of export controls in the coming fall in 2024. And we've also heard from officials that the US intends to enforce these rules more strictly. So they plan to go after individuals and companies that they might see as violating this.
While China sees this as an effort targeted at their development, it struggles to push back since retaliating against US businesses would only drive away the foreign capital Beijing needs as its economic growth slows. Things may look cordial between Washington and Beijing for now, but that could change unexpectedly in the coming year. From presidential elections in Taiwan and the United States to continued trade fights, there are no shortage of fault lines between the world's 2 largest economies.